Welcome to the Community Sense podcast. I'm Tricia Northeast, a finance broker and a certified spending planner who's all about helping people feel confident and less stressed about money. I believe financial well-being starts with simple, practical steps and conversations that make sense. This podcast is produced by me on behalf of Attwood House Community Centre and has support from Hume City Council. Today, my guest is Jo Harris, who has been helping Australians deal with financial stress and credit issues for over 20 years. She is the Deputy CEO of Mortgage Stress Victoria, where she supports people through hardship, mortgage stress, and credit reporting problems. What I love about her work is that she combines legal expertise with real care for people, making complex stuff feel simple and human. Welcome, Jo. Jo Harris, as I said before, is from Mortgage Stress Victoria. And today our main topic is we're covering off on credit reports, what they are, misunderstandings, complications, how to repair them, how you get into awkward situations, and everything around them. So let's go, Jo.
All right. Thanks, Tricia, for having me. I'm very excited
No
to talk about this topic.
Oh, it's a very big topic. We will try and keep it into a timeline, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Do you want to start unpacking credit reporting and what they are? And a lot of people don't know they exist until
No.
there's an issue with them. They go for a loan or they need something that requires funding. They suddenly just understand that there's something there that they didn't know existed before. Do you want to start unpacking that? We'll go from there.
Well, let's start with, what is a credit score? Because I'm sure that people have heard that term around, but perhaps don't really understand what it is. It's basically like a financial report card that reflects your credit worthiness. So it's a number, and it's usually between 0 and either 1,000 or 1,200. And it tells lenders how likely you are to repay money you borrow. So the higher your score, the more trustworthy you appear to lenders, and they take that into account in their decision to lend to you. They will also give you a credit. You might also hear the term credit rating. That's slightly different. That's a band that you sit in as to your credit worthiness. So that credit score is made up of a number of things. It's made up of the amount of debt that you owe, and that can include all credit cards and loans that you have. It's made up of your payment history, so whether you consistently make your payments on time, the number of times you've applied for credit, and the types of accounts that you have. So the mix of home loans, credit cards, whatever that might be. So yeah, that's basically what a credit score or a credit rating is.
And most people would have them once they get something like a mobile phone, wouldn't they? Like when you're a teenager and you don't have a mobile under your name, you wouldn't have one necessarily. But once you start getting that retail thing, like your mobile phones on there and your gas company and your electricity company, information like that. So it's not something that some people have earlier on.
So utilities do play an important part of the credit reporting system, but it's more around your debt that's the real important part of this, and how you manage your credit card or your home loan. And I hope we can talk a bit more about why it's important for you to have a good credit score. Basically, it can help you get approved for a loan, or you can access better interest rates, you can negotiate better terms. So if you were refinancing a home loan, for example, if you've got a good credit rating, then you might get lower repayments. On the other hand, if you've got a bad or a lower credit score, that means that you might get higher interest, and it could mean that you kind of get stuck with your original lender and you can lose your options to move unless you're prepared to pay much higher interest rates.
Yeah.
So keeping that score as high as possible. So what you want to do is really know when your repayments are due. And you have a 14-day grace period before you will be reported. But it's really important that you know what that date is and that you have sufficient money in your account to make that payment if you've got a direct payment coming out of your account. Because if you haven't got enough money in the account, you might miss it, you might not realise, and then you'll be reported as overdue.
Right. And after 15 days, it goes onto your report. How long is that there for?
Yeah, so for your repayments, overdue payments are there for 2 years. If you have a hardship arrangement, though, it's only there for 12 months before it's not reflected. So there are other things that are included on your credit report. It might be a good idea to just have a quick look at one, possibly now.
Yep. That'd be great.
Okay, let's just have a look at what a credit report might include. This is a sample that I've just found doing a Google search, and anyone can have a look for this to see what information is included. So the report will include your personal information, your name, your date of birth, driver's license details, and who your employer is. It also includes your address and your previous 2 addresses. This summary then has a credit score. You won't always see that. You might see the credit rating, which is the band I talked about. But you'll see there that the number is 432. So that would be regarded as lower. It does then contain a lot of information about all your accounts, any defaults that have been reported, and your applications for loans are reported separately. It includes information about your commercial credit accounts, but also whether you've been bankrupt and other court actions. So there is a lot of information here, and we're not going to go through it in detail, otherwise that will take us the whole time. But it is interesting just to see how it's set out, and that it includes any loans that you've got open. So it really is worthwhile getting hold of your credit report, and you can do that for free from one of the credit reporting bureaus. There's 3 at the moment: Equifax, Experian, and Ilion, and they all have to give you a free credit report. So you can check what accounts are open, and I'll talk about what you can do if you find there's an error there. You'll see that this report also includes your repayment history. So it is a little bit complicated, but you'll see that the green zeros shows that you're up to date, and then where these red ones are shows that you're overdue. And there's a key down here that will help you understand how overdue your repayments are. So you'll have one of those for each of your accounts. And there's a code there that goes with it and how it helps you understand it. Then this is the defaults. So if you have not repaid a debt and you've had what are called regulatory letters asking you to pay that debt, and you still don't pay, then a default will be listed on your credit report. Now that's there for 5 years, so that's getting serious.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, that's the scary stuff. A serious credit infringement is also quite scary, because that can be listed, and you'll see here that utility companies can do that, and that stays there for longer. And then down here at the bottom, you'll have any applications or inquiries that you've made for loans. So all that information feeds into your credit score and your credit rating.
And comprehensive information on that file. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so important, as you were saying, about keeping it clean as much as possible, because every lender that you go to for like a mortgage, they will pull up that and need to know what credit worthiness you are. And often during times of crisis and things fall apart and slip. And as a broker, I see that with separations where people don't take responsibility for the mortgage, or somebody's told them that the one party will pay the mortgage and they don't, and the other one doesn't realize. So
Yeah,
when they've
yeah,
separated and they're going through their financial agreements, and then trying to move on with mortgage elsewhere and independently, this comes up. And it's so
yeah,
important to, well, as a broker, to know what the story is behind
yeah,
that.
that's
And
right.
you can talk to a lender and say, this is the story. It's, yes, it looks bad, but it's only for this period. And we can get through that, and we can talk to certain lenders. But some of the files are so bad with other information, and it's a consistent no life story event that they've got to cover with that. How can we recover the information in that? And what do you do with that?
Interesting points there. I think
Yeah.
probably the first thing is that if you've got a joint loan, then
Ah,
on your credit report, it will be reported as that joint loan. So if you have an arrangement with your partner that they're going to make the payments,
mhm.
and then for whatever reason they don't, then it will be reported as overdue on your report, even though that wasn't you that made the payment. And that's because the credit report is about the account, not the individual who was going to make the payment. So
Yeah.
if you do have a partner who's paying, it is a good idea to still keep an eye on your account, because it's you that might be impacted. And similarly, if you are trusting a third party to make payments for you, then you need to make sure that they are making payments, because if they don't, it's your report that will be impacted. If you are in trouble and you have missed payments, then you need to contact your lender.
Mm.
And the sooner you do that, the better it will be, not only to help you recover from your hardship, but also make sure that you have the right reporting on your credit report.
It's important there to do hardship as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not debt
that's right.
collection. Is that right?
Yeah, so when you contact a bank, if you think you've missed a payment, and you ask them for hardship, and then you realize that there's going to be an impact on your credit report, you need to think really carefully about, it's important that you pay the debt back, because I have seen a lot of people get really worried about their credit report. But actually, they need to focus on the debt and how they pay the debt back with the help of their lender.
Ah,
Because if they focus more on the credit report than the debt, then things will just get worse. So fix the debt and use the lender's hardship processes, and then that will follow that your credit report will fix itself more quickly. Hardship only stays there for a year, and doesn't
ah,
feed into your credit report.
right. Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
Mm.
Where debt collection is there for much longer, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's a bit of a tip there. If you're
Mm.
speaking to the collections team, and you might not even realize who you're talking to, but it's important to clarify that you've got a hardship arrangement, not a collection arrangement, because that is reported differently. It's a bit of a technicality, but just make sure you ask for hardship if you're having trouble paying.
And if you've got more than one account, can you include all of those in the hardship, or is it just this one account that I've been missed on?
Yeah, if you've got more than one account and you're having trouble and you're in financial difficulty, you should get hardship on all those accounts, and then that would be included on your credit report, because we're talking about credit reports. But obviously, you're going to help recover on all those accounts more quickly.
Right,
So it is a good idea to have a holistic hardship arrangement that does cover all your accounts.
right. Good to know. And
Mm.
great tip with the hardship versus debt collection. Absolutely. What sits behind the calculations? That how do they come up with this number when there's so many things involved?
so when we looked at the credit report, you could see all those things that were on it. So those are the things that they'll look at: the debt, the payment history, the credit applications, the type of accounts you've got. I think from a practical purpose, it's just really important to be on top of all your loans when those repayment dates fall due, and to take action if you miss a payment and not just ignore it. If your lender is trying to contact you, I strongly recommend that you speak to them, because the sooner you sort things out, the easier it is to recover your debt position and then your credit card, your credit report.
It's so confronting to have to answer that call, but the more you put it off, it's so hard. Yeah.
And it's also important that you keep your details up to date with the bank, because if you haven't kept your details up to date and then they can't contact you and you've missed a payment and you're not really sure how much you need to pay to catch up, you could end up in a situation where that payment gets reported as overdue. The bank is not able to contact you because you haven't updated your details, and then that can flow through your credit report and impact your ability to borrow and your options.
Yeah, and that's it. It's options, and as we're going through a financial crisis and we're talking this is about money and improving your position and awareness.
Yeah, that's right.
And choice. Financial well-being is all about being able to choose where you go. And if I've got a bad credit report, then I'm restricted in my choice of where I can go. And that's so important. And it is financial freedom when you've got choice about where you can go and what you can do. And you can choose one lender over another because you've got choice.
And that's the thing, it more than your credit report, it just comes back to staying on top of your finances. Really, as I was saying before, understand what payments are due, when they're due, and that if you're not able to make them, that you contact your lender early, because the sooner you do that, the sooner you will recover. And back to the options that you were talking about.
Yeah. And misunderstandings. Is there not standard by any means, but common mistakes and misunderstandings around them?
Look, I think the main thing is that the credit reporting framework is not a punishment for by the lenders. It's a framework that has been put there, and so if you make an administrative error, and we know that everybody is busy and it's very easy to overlook your payments, but even if you underpay by a little bit, the banks are not necessarily going to be able to change your credit reporting. So I think one of the misunderstandings is, I can just change it if I don't, if I miss it by mistake. You do have that 14-day period. Now there is a complaints process that you can go through and there's a number of reasons why you can change your credit report. And it's very important that you check the information on your credit report. And if you see something that's inaccurate, whether it's your personal information or you, for example, think, I did make that payment, why isn't that recorded properly? So you can contact your lender and ask for an amendment.
And sometimes I'm not sure if it was this conversation or another one we had the other day, but things like finding information on your credit report with different people's details on it.
Yeah.
So, if you're a family with close family names or things like that happens, doesn't it? So you do need to be careful of.
Yeah, you do need to be careful because, if you've had your driver's license stolen, for example. It is possible that somebody could try and apply for credit in your name. Your credit report would help you see that. So if you get a copy of your credit report and you see an application for credit that wasn't you, then you can contact the lender and establish that that wasn't you, and ask for that to be removed.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And Mortgage Stress Victoria, how do you work with clients, and how do you help people through this whole process?
Yeah, Mortgage Stress Victoria. So we take a lot of clients who are in financial difficulty and obviously in mortgage stress. We do have some eligibility criteria. You need to live in your own home in Victoria and you own one property. And also if you're impacted by family violence, support is available. If you are in mortgage stress, then please feel free to contact our service, and we'll make sure that you are eligible. We would then look at your overall position. We would work, our financial counsellors and our lawyers will work with you to see whether, or to help you through the hardship processes. And through that, we would also look at any credit reporting impacts. Yeah. And in addition, our social workers are also there to help with any social work issues that you might need help with.
Beautiful. Is there some success stories that you can tell without saying too much about clients or things like that, so people understand the breadth of what you do?
Look, we have a number of clients who are in a family violence situation, for example, and they've had to leave the property. So we would help them work with their lenders. We would put them in touch with family violence support agencies, and really try and assist with their whole situation, because there can be so much in that. On the other hand, we will also, terrible. We can also help people who are perhaps new to Australia and don't really understand the frameworks within which the lenders work and all the hardship help that's out there. So we can support those people with negotiating repayment arrangements with their lenders.
Right. Okay. And I just came to mind, like when you have a certain visiting visa, you don't qualify for mortgages sometimes, and people don't understand that, and they can go into and get into trouble with that too, can't they?
Well, sometimes people apply for loans or credit cards when they're not actually entitled to it, and that can put what's called an inquiry on their credit report, which feeds into their credit score, which makes it harder for them. So it is worth just talking to your lender before you apply to make sure that if you have got a visa status issue, or that you check that with a lender before you apply, and that would mean that you won't see that on your credit report if you know that you're not going to be eligible.
Yeah, or there's a question around it,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's right.
Yep, no worries. And the Money Smart website's a really good resource, isn't it? Is that?
Yeah, I strongly, for people who want to know more about this, and it is quite a complicated area, but the ASIC Money Smart website has got some really great information, and they really make it simple to understand. So strongly recommend you use that resource if you want to know more about credit reporting.
Yeah, there's the great also budgeting tool on there that you can put your funds in, and
Yeah, that's right. They've got
of
really good
everything. It's really quite
yeah.
intensive. And the
Yeah,
podcast, not that you shouldn't be listening to, there's a podcast on there and everything as well that's really quite as I said, intensive about what
yeah. And it probably goes to the point of, make sure you deal with your financial position. Your credit report will follow if you deal with your situation as early as you can, and using those tools to understand your budget and how much money you've got left every month is a really great way to start.
Yeah. So Jo, when circumstances are out of people's control, when can we fix a credit report because of those circumstances?
Yeah, look, there's been a recent amendment that allows you to request a change to your credit report because there were circumstances beyond your control.
So
There's
natural
specific,
disasters or?
yeah, it's a specific reference to natural disasters. So if you're busy sorting out your insurance and you're, cleaning your home out, all those sort of things,
Flooded. Yep.
then that would be a reason to have an amendment to your credit report. And you would need to put all those circumstances to your lender. Another reason might be you're in hospital. It is the last thing on your mind. You've got no access to make your payment. Perhaps you haven't got access to your phone or whatever it is. So there's certainly a position you could put there that it's circumstances beyond your control.
Right.
You can't have a change for compassionate grounds, though. So it can't just be I forgot, or I made an administrative mistake. I was busy doing other things. That's not enough. But there is scope
I haven't
there.
been traveling overseas for 8 weeks, and
Yeah.
okay, no.
No, that's probably not going to work.
Right, okay. But there is consideration if you've got
There
the
definitely is.
situation.
If you see something on your credit report that's inaccurate, then you can request for it to be amended.
Or compassionate grounds or
Yeah,
both of
it's not
these.
on compassionate grounds,
Oh,
but
not
if it's
uncompassionate. Sorry.
circumstances beyond
Right.
beyond your control.
So
Yep.
natural disasters, family violence, sort of.
Family violence, there's a specific way that you can report family violence. In fact, it gets reporting can get taken off your report altogether, so it's not reported. So that, and the aim of that is to help people move forwards. So that is also an option. So if you are a victim of family violence, you can also mention that to your lender.
Awesome.
And
Oh,
also tell if you are vulnerable, make sure you let your lender know about that as well, because they do have to take extra care with you, particularly if you are in hardship, if you're vulnerable. It's very important that your lender understands that, because that will impact the solution that they put in place for you.
and often too, you might still be in that situation that you can't get out of at the moment. And so the lender needs to be very cautious on how they talk. And while they shouldn't be talking to not you about your files, they need to know that you're vulnerable so that they can support you in the best way possible. Yeah.
Well, if you're with one of the major lenders who are part of the Australian Banking Association, then they do have commitments under the Banking Code of Practice to help you if you're vulnerable. It doesn't cover all lenders, but it's important that they understand if you are in a vulnerable situation.
Awesome. Such great information. Seriously. Excellent.
Probably just wanted to mention that if you think that something on your credit report is wrong and you go to your lender and you say, please, can you change it? And they disagree that there's a basis for that, then you can go to AFCA, which is the Ombudsman. They will look at any requests to change credit reports, and that's a free service as well. So you don't need to pay a third party to do any of this. It's free to approach your lender. It's free to go to the AFCA, the Ombudsman. So there are a number of agencies out there who can help you, but you do have to pay them, and there are free avenues.
So AFCA is this AFCA, and it's Australian Financial
Complaints.
Sorry?
Complaints Authority.
Complaints Authority. Thank you.
Yeah.
I pay my bill every year, but do I know who they stand for? So AFCA are it is the Ombudsman, as you would go to a telco ombudsman or whatever else for support. And you do need to approach your lender first. You need to try and work it out.
You don't have to.
Oh, is that right?
If you lodge a complaint through AFCA, and you haven't been through the lender first, then the Ombudsman will send it back to the lender and say, look, can you try and resolve this? And so they'll get an opportunity to try and resolve it directly with you. I mean, it makes sense to go to the lender first, but you don't have to. You can go through the Ombudsman at whatever stage. Whenever you think you've got a complaint that's not resolved by your lender, you can go to AFCA.
Excellent. Okay. And so AVCA, Mortgage Stress Victoria, you've got a breadth of help there with your social workers and your legal departments and everything there that people can reach out to if they fit into that criteria. But you never know unless you actually ask the question. And that's what this is about. It is about asking the question and being on top of it and not leaving it in a locked letterbox that you don't want to look at because it's too scary.
That's right. I mean, probably the big takeaway is, you know, stay on top of your commitments, know when your repayment date is, and ask for help early on. Lenders do have obligations to help you if you're in trouble. So either approach your lender if you feel like you need help with that. Please give us a call.
Yeah, the whole theme around this and the whole podcast series is support is out there. We can help you. The longer you leave it, the more stressful it is for you. I know that people have to go through their processes, but if we can help you earlier, then it's a hell of a lot less stressful picture.
Absolutely right. It becomes much easier to recover when there's less payments overdue than the longer you leave it, and the further down that collections path you can find yourself. And you also get enforcement costs put onto your loan, so that becomes more expensive. So to just avoid it all, avoid those costs being put onto your loan, contact your lender as early as possible.
Yeah. And in a bigger picture again, I suppose, but it's not, it's the nut and the family health and the well-being within the family unit, because you've got financial stability or understanding. And we know that a high cause of divorce is because, and family violence is around financial issues.
That's
and
right.
So I've had clients that have been going down the path of divorce because of financial errors and financial stress. And when you get on top of the financial stress, they're then able to reconnect and get their relationship back in a different manner. It's all about getting support early so that there's not the stress and the arguments and everything else that goes along with it.
I mean, credit reports cover all types of lending, secured and unsecured. But for us at Mortgage Stress Victoria, it's the home that we are looking to protect and to prevent homelessness where we can. And as you were saying, we know that housing is the foundation of well-being. And if you have a home loan, that is one of your biggest commitments. So the more you can look after your home loan and call out for help, as we've said, the earlier the better.
Yeah. Jo, I hope we have covered everything that we were hoping to do, looking at, I'm sure we have, but
I think we have. I mean, look, there's so much to talk about with this topic.
Such a vast topic.
It's so huge. The financial rights, that they have just issued a really good comprehensive fact sheet, but I think it just doesn't take it to the level of, like, we're trying to keep it really, make your payments, contact your lender, that sort of stuff. Because I think all the information that's out there is quite complicated and hard to understand. So
and the aim of this is a stepping stone, and if we get the funding next year,
I mean, there's heaps of information. People want to find it, they can, but it really is just, don't let you want to keep on top of it,
and the number of people that don't know that they exist, that credit
Yeah.
files exist, is incredible. Because it's one of the first things I do with for
Yeah.
mortgage finance is do
Yeah.
a credit report on them.
Because it's a waste of time, isn't it? Otherwise, like if you,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
Because also too, if I send somebody to a lender and their
yeah,
file is not suitable for that lender, then
mm,
I've just put another hit on their file,
mm,
because the lender's going to do
yeah,
a hit for finance, and
mm,
therefore they've got another search on there. And
yeah,
you find that when people go to the banks and they get
mm,
denied and they don't know why, and a lender doesn't tell them why, and so they
mm.
go to the next bank and the next bank, and then they've got
The other
four
thing that the
inquiries
other
on their
thing I
file.
didn't mention was internal credit reports, actually, that the lenders can have their own internal credit report, and that can be that's different from the external one, and that they can
Oh.
keep their own records of your payment history, and they can take that into account as well.
And that's it. And if
Mm.
people don't tell me that they've been with Bank ABC before,
Yeah,
didn't make any payments, or they, had a file error, it could be 10 years ago.
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to know that, because I would
Yes,
never go to that lender for that client, because they have an internal report on it. And
exactly.
that person would be listed as
Mm, mm.
a not good credit, even though their next 10 years have been brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
they're supposed to keep it up to date, but you know,
that,
ultimately, if they don't have to lend to anyone, so
no, no. And they never
yeah,
tell us why they
really, mm,
they get denied. So, it's good
mm,
to know from my point that sort of
mm.
history, so that you can go, yeah, we'll steer clear of that lender if we
Yeah.
something with them
Well,
before.
then you end up in the second tier and the
And
higher
then your
interest.
choices are worse. You do
Yeah,
end up, some of them are great, they have their purpose,
yeah,
and it's good to know who does automatic auditing, or who will listen to the story, you know,
yeah.
and that's where you talk about, you know,
Mm,
what's happened and what the
mm,
story is behind that number
mm,
5 on their credit report, or whatever it might be.
mm.
Yeah.
I
So
think I've covered what I want to say, but so really, the takeaways for people are keep on top of your home loan repayments, and if you can't, um,
reach out.
ask for help. And whilst your credit report is important, it's not as important as managing the debt, because
Mm,
if you manage the debt, the credit report will repair itself.
yeah.
Um, and also get hold of your credit report, see what's on there, and if there's anything wrong, contact your lender.
Beautiful joke. Thank you so much. Heartfelt, really grateful. Thanks for that. Everybody, that is it for another wrap up of the podcast. And thank you very much for listening.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, Tricia. It's been
Oh,
great.
good. It's been good. Thanks, Joe. What a wonderful conversation that was with Joe Harris from Mortgage Stress Victoria. Yes, we were discussing credit reports, and people don't understand them, and they are comprehensive, and there is so much information, and really I think we really only just tip the iceberg of what they are. But what I want to take away from that, and what I'd like people to understand a little bit more about from that conversation as well, is that Mortgage Stress Victoria exists. It is a service that's out there for Victorians that have mortgage stress, as it says in the title, that can help you if you are at all in stress, because my gosh, it's a minefield out there about what's going on. We are in September 2025, and the cost of living crisis is a very real thing. And if somebody is in need, and you reach out to them, and they will support you as much as they can within their criteria. Obviously, it's for Victorians and whatever else. But yeah, reach out to them. Don't hide if you need help. It will make everything so much easier if you can talk about what's going on and you need some help. Are you okay, Day? In the money sense. All right, take care. Thanks a lot. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast.